Hello folks, this is George Almodovar, realtor, real estate investor, and author of the No BS in Making Millions in Real Estate. Today's topic is, should I continue renting? Keep in mind, owning a home is not for everyone. However, I'm going to give you some historical statistical facts according to the United States Historical Census that you may want to consider. Okay, back in the 1940s, rent was $27 a month. That was national. In New York, for instance, it was $39. In the 1950s, rent was $42 nationally a month. In New York, it was actually $48. Now, I want you to take that in consideration, keep that in mind, because properties back in the 1940s were sold for $2,938, brand new property. Whereas in New York, a high-priced city, was $4,389. These statistics, I also have it in my book, in the No BS in Making Millions in Real Estate. Now, the minimum wage back in the 1950s was 75 cents an hour. That adds up to $130 a month, considering you're not working overtime, and $1,560 a year. So basically, if you live with your parents or someone, you will actually buy a house free and clear within 2 years. Now, today's minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. And I hear a lot of complaints about people, they should raise the minimum wage, and others saying they shouldn't. The fact of the matter is, if you adjust the minimum wage for the cost of inflation compared to the 1960s, for example, today's minimum wage, the buying power will be worth $26 an hour. And that's not taking into consideration all these extra taxes that we got added, that we have to pay, as well as summonses, things that will take money out of your pocket, which was not available back then. So it is harder today to make a living than it was back then. Okay, so if you're renting right now, unless you are relocating or you don't have a steady job or steady income, you may want to consider that, because I assure you, you are better off, or the majority of you are better off buying a home than it is to rent. Rent is going to keep on drastically increasing to the point that you're not going to be able to afford to buy a home. Today we have historical interest rates. Take advantage of that, because once these interest rate goes up, you're going to be priced out of the market. And don't ask me why, but I assure you that rents will go up drastically. There are many banks and private lenders who are buying out real estate straight out with what is called junk bonds and junk funds. So they're going to make it harder, not only for investors like myself to buy real estate, but also they are doing themselves lease option, in which that's going to keep raising the rents even higher. So I honestly suggest, if you can't afford it, get involved in real estate. Buy real estate now, because if not, you're going to be priced out. Okay. Now, again, historical properties back in 1940s were $2,938, whereas in New York was $4,389 for a brand new property. What are properties going for today, especially New York City? I mean, when you compare it to the income, to wages, even if you are getting paid $15, $20 an hour, it's unbelievable. You cannot afford to buy real estate. It's getting really hard for a lot of people. So if you have the means, by all means, try to buy now before you be priced out. Properties will rise. Unless the nation defaults on its debt and can no longer pay that trillions of dollars of debt that it owes, real estate will rise as it has done for over 100 years. It has doubled every 10 years. Even in the Great Depression, by the way, 1929, yeah, real estate went down for a little, but then it started going back up to the point that it doubled. Okay, us Americans, we tend to have a short memory span. We forget that in the 1990s, real estate went down with the savings and loan fiasco. Forget about the 70s, with a lot of landlords. It was so many rules and regulations passed that so many landlords, especially in the Bronx, I don't know if many investors remember that, properties were abandoned and they got burned, and whatever the case may be, landlords trying to collect on insurance. Okay, it also happened obviously in the Great Depression, the 30s. So this keeps going on and on. It's just becoming harder for low-income individuals to afford real estate. So don't believe the hype. Don't believe the blaming of minorities and low-income individuals, and this is why we had this real estate fiasco, because it's not true. This is all the plan. Okay, our system, in order to work, is a huge Ponzi scheme, and real estate as well as cash People have to file for bankruptcy. It's set up that way. In other words, okay, unless you balance your books and balance your budget, it's meant for you to file bankruptcy, because if not, the system cannot continue, because it's a huge Ponzi scheme and people need to drop off of the rat race, so to speak. People need to drop off of these loans and start again all over. So that's how the system works. So if you can, save up now, buy real estate, historical interest rate. You can buy a home with a 3.5% down with an FHA loan, as with a credit score as little as 580. So I suggest, if you can, get involved in real estate. I hope this helped. Look into this historical facts. It's based on the United States historical census, and you'll be surprised. The cost of living and inflation is rising. Whether they tell you it's 2-3%, that's BS. When you account for everything, medical, food prices, when you adjust all these, inflation, believe me, is becoming very unaffordable for many Americans. So the only thing I suggest, buy real estate. Gold, I don't know if you remember, back in the 1970s, they made it illegal for you to hold gold. So it happened before, it could happen again. So I don't trust too much about the commodities and all that. But at least real estate, everyone needs a place to live in. Okay? So that's my advice for today. I wish you the best. Thank you for watching. By the way, any questions, please link below and write down your questions so I could answer them. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.